Imagine diving into the pitch-black waters of the Mariana Trench. You might expect that the deeper you go, the larger and more terrifying the creatures lurking in the dark become. The trench is mind-bogglingly deep. If you took Mount Everest and plunged it upside down into the middle of the ocean, its peak would still fall about 7,000 feet short of hitting the bottom. But if you actually reached the absolute bottom, a region called the Hadal Zone, you wouldn't find any leviathans. Instead, the deepest living creatures ever discovered are tiny translucent snailfish and microscopic single-celled organisms. Finding the massive, unsettling predators of the deep requires stopping thousands of meters before ever reaching the bottom. The very bottom of the ocean is essentially a biological dead zone. To find the true giants of the deep, we have to look upward, into a layer of the ocean known as the abyssal zone. This depth chart shows the abyssal zone sitting right above the deepest trenches, spanning roughly 4,000 to 6,000 meters down. Down here, temperatures hover near freezing, and the water pressure is over 600 times what it is at the surface. This hostile environment triggers a biological phenomenon called deep-sea gigantism. A perfect example is the giant phantom jelly, a species growing over 10 meters across. Instead of stinging its prey like most surface jellyfish, it uses long, thick, ribbon-like tentacles to slowly trap small passing organisms, acting a lot like strips of deep-sea fly tape. Deep-sea gigantism scales up even the most familiar biology. The giant isopod shares the same family tree as the millimeter-sized pill bugs you'd find in a garden, except down here they grow up to 20 inches across. They patrol the barren seafloor inside thick, heavily armored exoskeletons, scavenging whatever organic debris falls from above. The abyssal zone acts as a precise evolutionary sweet spot. It takes standard biological blueprints and stretches them into heavily armored bottom feeders and massive, gelatinous predators. The most unsettling example of this isolation is the magna or big fin squid. You won't find the famous giant or colossal squids here. They hunt in the waters much closer to the surface. The big fin squid is something far stranger. They stretch roughly 25 feet long, with weird, sharply angled elbows that drop into extremely thin, trailing arms, fading out into the darkness. Instead of actively hunting, they usually hover completely motionless in the water column. They use this eerie, passive stance to snag small, unsuspecting prey passing by. Because they live at such inaccessible depths, marine biologists have a massive blind spot when it comes to this animal. Humans have never even captured a live adult specimen. These rare predators live so far down that they occasionally cross the boundary into the upper edges of the deadliest ocean trenches. The big fin squid represents the isolated evolution of the abyss perfectly. They are so far removed from human reach that we still don't fully know how large they can actually grow. This raises a critical biological question. If the deep sea makes animals grow to massive sizes, why don't they keep growing even larger as you enter the pitch-black Hadal zone below? The answer comes down to a hard physical boundary. As you pass 6,000 meters and enter the Hadal zone, the water pressure climbs to over 1,000 times what it is at sea level. This diagram shows exactly how surface area becomes a fatal liability. The larger an animal grows, the higher the total force acting on its surface. Under extreme weight, complex internal systems fail and collapse, while simpler bodies simply bend and absorb the pressure. There is also a severe caloric limit. Sustaining a massive body requires immense amounts of food, and in the deepest trenches, organic material is virtually non-existent. We've only verified this barren reality through a handful of extremely difficult missions. The few humans who have reached the bottom had to do so inside thick steel spherical capsules just to keep themselves from imploding. The transition from the abyssal plane into the Hadal trenches is the physical boundary of scale. It is where the laws of physics stop favoring giants and begin ruthlessly crushing life back down to its smallest forms.